fragrances gently mixed with the breeze from a specific place. I wonder where this fragrance is coming from. If I move towards the place where that colorful peacock came from, there will be a beautiful woman sitting in a boat. For some people, there is always trouble in certain matters. I found it here. They say in water, I found it in fire. Look, for Shantanu Maharaja, it has always been found by women. He has already encountered the complexities of being enchanted by a beautiful woman. Now you see a beautiful woman. Bharat calls her by the name Parimala Gandhi. Parimala Gandhi is all over him. Does the fragrance of Parimala spread? A fisherwoman. I am coming along with the boat. But from the place she is coming from, the fragrance spreads for a distance from where she stands. That is why she has a name called Yojana Gandhi. Bharat also calls her by another name, Satyavati. After meeting her, if she is a wise and beautiful woman, we will desire to marry her. As soon as the desire to marry arises, if that woman says, "Come and ask my father." The father is the chief of the fisherman's pond, Chempadava Thalaivan. He said, "I want to marry the girl." Chandran said, "You are an ordinary traditional wrestler. Your heritage is not an ordinary heritage. It is a very esteemed lineage of gurus. You belong to an ordinary fisherman clan. You are asking to marry my daughter. We are very generous. I am ready to arrange the marriage. But there is only one condition." What is the condition? Because it is the conditions that have already caused destruction. Who is happy? Raja. It was due to the orders given by Ganga Devi that all these complications arose. It has been 36 years of being alone. Now, as before, this man desires this woman, and his father is a conditional man. What do you mean by conditional? Devavirathan is your son, the son of Ganga Devi. He is now wearing a crown and overseeing the rule there. We know you are now desiring my daughter. I have only one wish. Do you know what that wish is? If you marry my daughter and she gives birth to a male child, will you crown that child and admire his beauty? After all, isn't the elder one already a deity? When I asked if you would crown that child and admire his beauty, it felt like a flood of emotion surged in this heart. For the moon, without answering, he came to the palace. He came to the palace and thought deeply without any distractions on one side. On the other side, Devavirathan is asking, do you want fragrant beauty, fragrant charm? Do you want Devavirathan? It is Devavirathan that is desired. In Canada, it is said that love is a duty. However, the fragrance that came from that charming beauty continued to torment and distress him. It was still fresh. He began to think and ponder deeply. Devavirathan realized that there was some problem with the grandfather. Sarathi called out, "Why does our father look like this?" They were fine until just before going for the hunt. The father asked, "Why does our father look like this now?" He said that if we ever need news about ourselves, we shouldn't inquire with anyone else. He will vote for us. Just look at him. If you speak lightly to him, he will tell a different story about our family's history. I didn't say that everyone would say it. Generally, if you need to know something, it should be from someone at home. If the work is stressful, it should be corrected. Otherwise, you need to drive. They will tell the truth. Similarly, call Trisha immediately. He met the charming beauty by the riverbank. That charming beauty is ready to marry the mind of a leader of an incident. However, he asked if it would be possible to crown the son who could be born from that charming beauty's womb. Your father returned without answering. Now, Devavirathan has set out for the place to search for Chandana Maharaja. His father has set out for Chandana Maharaja. The leader of the incident had said earlier, "I am Devavirathan. My lovely mother is standing there. This charming beauty is indeed my mother, and the children who can be born from this wonderful mother are my siblings. When I asked, "Please give your daughter to my father," the leader of the incident said, "At 62, what can a son do for his father at this age? He is doing it for his father." He said, "Dad, you have a very big heart. You have come asking for my daughter for your father. I am also ready to give my daughter, but there is only one condition. Power must be given to my grandson. There is no change in that. I am only temporarily staying there as a protector." However, after saying that power should be given to your daughter's son, Sembadavalavan said, "Look, you can conduct this wedding with a big heart, and I will give power to your daughter's son. You can say that, but you will get married tomorrow. In your womb a child is born, and by law and righteousness that child is the heir. Even if you say you did not give power, the right to control will immediately come to the child." When asked, Devaviranthan stood there. He beautifully said, "Look, if a marriage happens, that child will be fortunate. If a child comes, then power will be cut off. At this moment, I swear by the sky and the earth, there has never been a union marriage in my life. As long as my life exists in this world, there will be no happiness for women in my life. This is a vow." From the heavens, the celestial beings showered flowers and called out, "Bhishma, Bhishma, Bhishma." Do you know what Bhishma means? It means one who can perform wonderful deeds. It signifies someone who can accomplish tasks that others cannot. No child in the world has sacrificed their married life for their father. There are those who have sacrificed their marriages for the sake of their elder siblings. There are sons in this world who can live without marrying for their mother. But if a son thinks that his father, who is many years older than him, should marry and be happy, and that he should live without marriage, that is Bhishma. Look, the sage Vasishta's blessing was powerful. The 8th child is Prabhasan, who is seen as a leader among the Vasu. That Prabhasan alone will live in this world without the happiness of a woman is the curse given by Vasishta that has now come true. I will have no marriage for the rest of my life. As long as my soul exists in this body, there will be no marital happiness or joy from women for me. It is Devaviranthan who has fulfilled Vasishta's curse, knowingly or unknowingly. My son is Bhishma. Look how beautifully Bharata guides. Then the leader of the Chenapadavar said this even about the truthful woman. Do not think of her as just an ordinary fisherwoman. A fish came into my net and changed everything. When I cut open that fish, there was a male child and a female child inside. They say that through him the collection is done. The king emerged from the life forms. These two raised the male child, whom they called Vasu. The king asked to give the female child to me to raise. Thus her lineage is not just that of a fisherwoman. She is also a princess from a royal family. The son beautifully arranged the marriage between Shantanu and Satyavati. The situation where a father is married exists in Bharata. Both lived happily after marriage and had 2 children. The son born to Satyavati, is named Chitrangadan. The other one is named Vichitravirya. Chitrangadan is destined to die on a Gandharva day. Only Vichitravirya remains. He is the son of Satyavati and the brother of Bhishma. Now Bhishma, who thought of arranging a life for Vichitravirya, must go to the land of Kashiraja to find a bride for him. To go to the land of Kasinathan, a swayamvara is being held there. Kashiraja has a total of 3 daughters, Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika. Bhishma went and sat in the assembly hall for his brother Vichitravirya, where he could act as an elder brother. However, all the kings present there spoke about him being someone who could adhere to celibacy. The world praises him as someone who took an oath not to marry as long as he lives, and performed a wonderful deed. But what is he doing here? Why has he come to the Swayamvara assembly? Everyone spoke. Bhishma said, I have not come for anyone else. I have come for my brother Vichitravirya. These 3 women are eligible to wed him. He lifted them to the chariot. No one can defeat Bhishma. Everyone chased after him from behind. No one could confront him and win. Only one king followed him, named Salvan. After defeating Salvan, he took the 3 women to the palace for the wedding arrangements. You said that when the auspicious time comes, if the bow rises, Bhishma, you may be a great sage. But without understanding what is in a woman's heart, you hurriedly brought them. While you were bringing them, everyone was chasing you. You defeated them, and they all ran away. But again and again, one person followed your chariot. Salvan. I wanted to marry him. He said that there are no competitions in my life. He assured me not to worry. And now Vichitravirya has married Ambika and is taking this woman in the chariot to Salvan. Salvan said, What happened outside? I truly loved him. But when? I am a king, and if you say that one king defeated another king, it would be an embarrassment for me to claim your victory. I do not need your victory. I can let it go. There is no other way to get along. Bringing her, Vichitravirya sang, You should get married. I am not ready to marry someone who is in my heart. I am Vichitra. Now Vichitravirya is gone and Salvan is also gone. In anger, Ambika said, You who have uprooted my life must give me life. You must marry me. For the first time, a woman's mouth poses a challenge to his celibacy. Someone said, O woman, in this life, I will not marry. Even if my life is at stake, I will give it to you, but I will not marry you. While crying, this woman, Kasirajan, ran to his father and said, In this world, some people will not listen to anyone, but if a certain person speaks, they will listen. The highly respected Parasurama, the teacher of that Bhishma, has said this, so Bhishma will marry Mira completely. Go and see Parasurama. Now Parasurama came and saw that girl. Parasurama said it was time to marry her. Bhishma said, My life is at stake, and for the first time, a woman is challenging my celibacy. For the second time, Parasurama is teaching me the lessons of life and testing me. He said that he cannot marry that woman. My life is at stake, he said. No, I must marry. If you say so, I will never deviate from my vow. I will not stray from my promise. I will fight with the teacher, and even if I lose my life, I will not marry this woman. I will not marry this girl or any other woman. One must see that Bhishma couldn't stand in front of the students as Parashurama left. Parashurama departed. Now, what will Amba do? I must somehow eliminate Bhishma, who has ruined my life. I am thinking of taking revenge in any way possible. If you think of taking revenge, Amba performed severe penance. You performed severe penance and Muruga granted you a vision. I must eliminate Bhishma. That's what Murugan said. Mother, eliminating Bhishma is not an ordinary task. First, the kings need courage to oppose him. To invoke that courage, I am giving you a copper flower garland as a gift. If you take this garland and command any king to wear it around his neck, he may gain the strength to confront Bhishma. This may bring the courage to confront Bhishma. For now, this is your fate, he said, handing over the lotus flower garland. Look, he has given the lotus flower garland in hand. Please take this lotus flower garland and go to each king's palace. And then what about Bhishma? Wearing this, I confronted Bhishma. If so, the courage to oppose him is yours. So no one came forward. Finally, I stood in Dhruva's court. Go to that Dhruva king and please say, this is the one with valor. After wearing this copper garland, if you need anything else, let me know. He said that it is impossible for that to happen in this lifetime. He asked to remove this woman from here and take her into the forest. Outside they are dragging that woman. No one is ready to take the lotus flower garland from around my neck and place it against Bhishma. What happened to my pain is that the Dhruva king placed that garland at the palace gate and left, and everyone took it and left it in the children's playground. Do you know what penance is if done the old way? Somehow I must destroy Bhishma without showing any mercy to my words. Even as a woman, they should take me and leave me to show Dhruva, who must bear the burden. Now, she has taken birth as the daughter of Dhruva through penance. How she was born is that she performed severe penance, nurtured the fire, and fell into the fire, giving up her life. The one who had once given up his own life takes rebirth and eventually comes to the grand palace of Dhruva. One day, as you wander around the magnificent palace, you notice that a beautiful copper flower garland is elegantly hanging at the grand entrance of the palace. The garland you and I gave may wilt in a moment, but the garland given by Lord Muruga will not. Seeing this garland, she immediately remembered everything. She put it around her neck and said, I will go to destroy Bhishma. I am Dhruva's son. Oh, what a pity! As before, she must come searching for us in this form. And I have brought her back to show as before. He named this girl by the name of Shikandi, his beloved and cherished dear for his son. I will put the lotus flower garland around my neck and go to confront Bhishma. Did I not hand over to the guards as before and come back? Now you have gone to the show and performed penance as before. You encountered a celestial being known as Shikandi, who was like you in the form of sunlight. After telling all the truths to that celestial being and giving him her female form, Shikandi transformed into Shikandi, who could provide a chariot for Arjuna, who had come as a charioteer. Bhishma stood in front of the chariot, and Shikandi thought, I will bring him down from the chariot. But what Bhishma did not know was that he thought, even if you stand here as Shikandi, having taken the form of a celestial being, I will not accept the arrow that you, born as Shikandini, release. I am not ready to let the arrow disappear within your body, which is still under the influence of brahmacharya. Bhishma thought that if he fought with this arrow until the end, he would see Arjuna. He was the charioteer. Only after understanding this subtlety did Krishna bring Shikandi in front of Arjuna, who was fighting beautifully against Bhishma, a powerful warrior. When Shikandi was brought and placed in front of the chariot, Bhishma thought, she is the one who has come to fight. Immediately, he lowered his bow and arrow, and in Bharat, they beautifully narrate the history of the arrow. When we read the history of the arrow, there are so many truths hidden within it, especially when we look at the story of its death. There are many layers to it. One does not need to take each one deeply and think for hours. It will naturally reveal itself to each of you here. Ambika and Ambalika were married to a strange warrior and lived a beautiful life. But after a while, he fell seriously ill and died. Immediately after he passed away, Ambika and Ambalika were left alone without a husband or children. Their hearts were filled with great pain, wondering who would provide for them. As both daughters-in-law were unable to have children and continue the lineage, after many people died in the battlefield, when the women were left without husbands and were struggling during that time, it was said that the sages provided them with life and helped their generations to flourish. Bhishma replied, Mother, is this what you are telling me? Your brother and my 2 wives are now suffering without living and without children. So, in the way of an elder brother, you should help them. You can live freely. When asked if the strange warrior's brother should take both of them as his wives and continue the lineage, Bhishma replied, Mother, even if you ask for my life, I will not agree to this marriage in this birth. Thus, indeed, a 3rd test comes for his celibacy. He cannot bear it. As soon as he said he couldn't, Satyavati said, Father, I need to tell you something that has been on my mind for many days. Do you know how I transformed into Parimala Kanti? I was a fisherwoman, with the smell of fish all over my body. I was just a woman who could be blown away by the wind. But one day the sage Parashara was enchanted by my beauty. He said, If you come with me, I will give you a child who is powerful and filled with wisdom. Bound by his words, I united with him and gave birth to a beautiful male child. And once again, by the grace of Parashara, I became a virgin. That child is not an ordinary child. He possesses the strength of 1,000 elephants and the power of millions of elephants in his body and mind. That boy is none other than Vyasa. That child is Vyasa, but he has given me a command. Mother, I will not come to you. If you have any need or problem, if you face any danger, should I help you? I will come immediately and do whatever is needed. She asked, Isn't Vyasa the one who is qualified to be with them? Bhishma replied, Yes. Now, having thought of Vyasa, he has come and stood here. He has shared all the news. Bound by the command of his mother, Vyasa is, as per her wishes, preparing to reside with Ambika and Ambalika. Ambika is in her room. Vyasa enters, and his appearance is somewhat fearsome. He appears somewhat fearsome. His body is covered in hair. This strength is evident in his face. He has a slightly fearsome demeanor, but is compassionate at heart. As soon as Vyasa entered, Ambika, frightened, closed her eyes tightly and joined him. When they emerged, he looked at his mother and Satyavati and said, O woman, you have done this to ensure the prosperity of our lineage. However, when I joined with Ambika for the sake of this lineage, out of fear, she tightly closed her eyes while joining with me, resulting in a child being formed. However, the child will be born blind. When I think about who could have caused such a defect, they sent Vyasa to Ambalika, as was done in the past. Now Vyasa enters Ambalika's room. Upon seeing him, fear grips her, and she is unable to speak, her body tensed. Because of this tense state, she joined with Vyasa, which complicated matters. As she came and saw Satyavati, if she closed her eyes and joined with me, then the child born will indeed be blind. He said that since Ambalika was tense all over with fear while joining with me, a child with a white complexion would be born. That is why both children were born blind. Dhritarashtra from Ambika and a child with a white complexion from Ambalika. Look, Ambika, when he closed his eyes out of fear, that is why Dhritarashtra was born blind. Look at her, Ambalika, in a state of being completely tensed. That is why Pandu was born with a white complexion. You cried about how my lineage will flourish, and now, mother, this is the only time you can help me to block this pool. Vyasa, who had said that I should not be called again, entered Ambika's room once more. However, as soon as Ambika learned that Vyasa was coming, she had her maid adorn herself like her and sit down. Vyasa spoke with that maid. Filled with great joy, he spoke to the maid, saying, You possess all the auspicious qualities and are capable of providing wise counsel for a high position. Why would you take a child bound by justice and righteousness? Servitude has ended today. Your servitude has ended today. Swearing an oath, he came out and saw his mother, Satyavati, and said, "By the grace of God, I have been blessed with a wonderful child for your lineage to flourish. Surely that child will be strong, righteous, and disciplined. He will walk this earth as a child who can act in accordance with truth. From now on, do not call me for the child's name," Vyasa told Satyavati, and took his leave.